all practitioners. Today is the third day of the retreat in Quang Minh Temple, Houston, Texas. I want to remind and repeat that the right Dharma is the attachment from all the thinking in the mind. There's nothing outside of this space and nothing outside of this time. Anything that we gain in understanding or any knowledge from outside, those are the attachments. Those are the ego. It's just like in the Lotus Temple, Lotus Sutra, have an example that a beggar who has a pearl or diamond in his pocket, but he didn't realize that. Until he realized that he had that diamond in his pocket, then he can use it to live a happy life. So that diamond is our Buddha nature. That is an example. We are the same. We have already had our Buddha nature, and we didn't realize that. We still go out and begging for knowledge or understanding from outside. We still running after the ignorance, the understanding from outside instead of using our own wisdom, our own treasure. That's why the patriarch, the wise men, always remind us to realize our own Buddha nature. There's poems. The Buddha is from the Linsen mountain in our mind. There's already a Linsen temple. Every people, every person already had the Linsen temple in our mind, our own mind. And if we realize that the temple is already there, the Buddha is already there, your own mind. Or another poem is that it's already there in your mind. Your Buddha nature is already there in your mind, just because you don't want to accept it. That's why you don't realize your own Buddha nature. So all those are just explanations. Those are just words to explain about our Buddha nature. If we still running after those words or understanding, which means we still running outside and by those knowledge from outside, and you don't realize that is the disease that we already had from several lives. So when we do in the practice, sometimes we thought that we achieved something. We thought that we have something from outside that we can gain. That is still the attachment, still the ego that we had. That's why the patriarch is always have the means, like screaming or hitting, means to pull us back to our realization of our own Buddha nature. The example from Buddha in the sutra: if you are a prisoner, you realize that the soldier or the police is running after you. You knew they are the police. When you escape from the visions, you're always running after to run away from the police. When the soldier or the police is from outside, we can realize them easily. But when these pretend to be our relatives, we don't realize they are the problem or they are the people who can harm us. So when we do in a practice, when we asking for something or we want to achieve something, our mind is always creating these achievements or something for us to ask for that we can achieve and lure us away from our practice. When we do in a practice, we need to detach ourselves from what we ask for, what we achieve, and what we fear of. If you thought that you achieved something, you must come back and continue your practice. If you fear of something, you need to go back to your practice and continue to ask questions and raise doubts. When you reach the ultimate goal, which means there's nothing else for you to achieve, nothing else for you to ask for. When you reach the peak, you can see everything on the peak of the mountain. When the cloud was blown away by your doubts, your sun rays will shine everywhere. So in Lăng Zen in Lăng Sutra, the Buddha said that when you doing a practice, if you see some problems or feel like you achieve something, if you don't attach yourself to them, that is a good RAM. That is a good achievement. However, if you attach yourself to those achievements, to those problems during your practice, that the bad things or something that will interfere with your practice. So in our patriot Zen practice, we need to realize that we need to detach ourselves from all of those thinkings in our mind. We need to use these Dharma sessions, Dharma talk, to remind us to go back to the practice and go on the right path. If you realize that you have a mistake, if you realize that you going on the wrong path, you have to fix your own mistake and go back to the right path. And if right now, if you have any questions or want to share, go ahead and speak up. I want to ask about the Dharma from you. Yesterday there was a Nhật Huy on Zoom who want to ask questions, and if he's still here, he can ask questions, or I can ask. I have before I ask the questions, I want to repeat a reminder from our master, Duy Lực. Before he spreading this patriot Zen, there's not a lot of people that can get the wisdom. But after he teaching this methods, patriot Zen methods, there's some people who can get the wisdom, the prajna, when they're practicing. And he said that this wisdom is the problem that he couldn't see his Buddha nature. I don't know if this is his reminder for everybody to stay away from the achievement or the wisdom, or his reminder for everybody to detach themselves from everything that they achieve. Everything are just a mean that the patriarch used in order to help other people to go back to the practice. It's just like there are several kinds of diseases, several kinds of patients, and different people, different person will have different disease that they use different different medications. So different people, different patient came with the different diseases. That's why the master using different means to help them to practice. So Ziluk Zen Master, when he started his teaching of the Patriarch Zen, he realized that there's a lot of practitioners already knew Buddhism. They go into the research and studying of Buddhism deeply and without the practice. That's why our master is so passionate. He's always remind everybody to go back to the practice. Don't run after the words of explanations on understanding of the Buddha Sutra. Apply them to the practice. So it's just like he using the means to give people something at first so they can believe in the patriots and practice. At first, our master also running after those attachments to the sutra. He wanted to read all the sutra. When he meet Yu Yuen and he vowed to do the practice the Patriarch Zen and stop all those knowledge, reaching understanding, reading and understanding the sutra. At first, he vowed to read all the sutra, but in 1 year he can only read seven books out of several thousand. But when he meet his master, he decided to practice, and when he started his practice in the Patriarch Zen, he decided to cut off everything related to the knowledge, the understanding, and just pay attention to his practice. So just based on his wisdom during practice, he believed more in his Buddha nature and he started to practice. And this is why when he started the teaching, he said at first he didn't want to do the teaching right away until he get enlightenment. However, because his master, Yu Yuen, master wanted him to teach the Patriarch Zen and didn't let him know about this decisions. So when he went to a temple for an event, his master told all practitioners there will be a new master will teach about the Patriot Zen. When Master Drila came back from his event, he saw that the practitioner was there and waiting for him to teach the Patriot Zen. And because he didn't know about that, and because that is his master order, so he started the teaching at the beginning, few days of teaching in the whole group of people learning Patriot Zen, only one who interested in the practice. However, later on, when more people practicing, then more people coming and learning from his teaching. And when he was teaching the Patriot Zen, he realized that before he teaching the Patriot Zen, he was teaching the Pure Land practice, the chanting of Buddha names, and no one have opened their eyes of wisdom, of prajna. However, after he taught the Patriot Zen, he saw that some of his practitioners opened their own eyes of wisdom, and he's realized that the practice is very special, and the methods can help people to open their eyes of wisdom. However, he always remind people that don't attach yourself to those wisdom. If you run after those wisdom and attach yourself to it, it can be a problem on your path going toward your destinations. Just because you might mistaken the enemy for your own children. And that's why he always remind every people to detach yourself from anything that you achieve during the practice. Yeah, please go ahead and speak up. I have a question. I heard from the Dharma talk, our master said the Buddha is always with our normal life. If we live our normal life and by the Buddha teaching, it's just like searching for a turtle first, or the horns of the rabbit. So this is a verse in the from the Patriot Zen, number 6, the 6th Patriot. He said that the Buddha is at the normal life that we have, if we searching for the Buddha teaching outside of this normal life, which means we searching for the thoroughfares or the horns of the rabbit. So it's just like when you having the disease, that disease in this body, and when you get enlightenment, that enlightenment is also from this body. Another example is when you spinning your body around, you see that the everything surrounding you spinning, and when you stop spinning, then you see that everything stop, or your house stops spinning. You said that the house stopped spinning. However, the house stop spinning is reaching the nirvana. That is wrong statement, because the house never spins. Just because you spin your own body, that's why you see the house spinning. It's the same when we using this thinking, which means we're spinning our body around, and we thought that everything outside is spinning. And when we practicing the Buddha based on the Buddha teaching, and we stop the spinning of our bodies, means we stop rethinking in our mind, and we thought that yes, everything stopped spinning. This is why when you still believe that there is something outside for you to run after, something outside for you to achieve, which means you are not believing in your own Buddha nature. When the sixth patriarch said about the attachment to the greed, the anger, or the illusions that we have, then we can come back to our own Buddha nature. When Long Thọ master, Zen master, said that our mind is like the space in this universe. There's no property or no attachments that we can achieve from this space, or this air in this space. It's just like when you put a mold to make the space into a square shape or the circle shape, and you said that the air or the space are the square or the circle, but the space or the air have no shape, are formless, just because you attaching to the shape that you created by your own mind. That's why the space have the shape or the forms that they are right now. So when you do the practice and detach yourself from all of these thinking in the mind, which means you going on the right path of practicing. But however, if you attach yourself to all these thinkings, all these understanding, which means you going on the wrong path of practicing. We need to detach ourselves from all of these attachments that we had with the creation of our own mind. That's why when you realize something that is not the ultimate goal, when you understand something that is not the ultimate, when you get enlightenment, you detach yourself from everything. That's why you need to be very careful, even in the levels, different levels of lower practicing or the practice of the Bodhisattva. They still need to be very careful when they practicing, so you don't attach yourself to anything. And when you attach yourself to those knowledge or understanding, then you won't be able to escape from the circle of birth and death, or the three realms of this life. That's why we focus on the practice. Is that understandable? Yes. Thank you. I have another question. I'd like to share my practice in my daily living. When I'm working, my habit, my understanding in working, I'm using my mind, my understanding, and my colleague, they also have their own thinking, understanding, and when we have these understanding or the knowing, the knowledge, we using them continuously, then it's become our habit. When we practicing, we detach ourselves from those attachments to the knowledge. However, when we're working, we still need to use our knowledge, and it's like the habits that we have, and our practicing, we have to have those knowledge, And when we practicing, we detach ourselves from those knowledge. So it feels like contradictions when we apply our practice in our daily living. When we do in the Patriot Zens, we just practice. It doesn't mean that we don't do anything. We don't do our job in our daily living. We have nothing to renounce. We have nothing to attach to. It's only the practice of Patriot Zen. We doing that ultimate detachment. When you practicing the Patriot Zen, he detach ourselves from all the thinking in the mind, all those elusive creations of our mind. This is why when we get used to our practice, we can apply that to our daily living easily. This is why the sixth patriarch said that the Buddha teaching is in this normal life. You cannot find the Buddha teaching outside of this normal life. This right we don't encourage all people will become the monk. Different people will have different responsibilities. Monk have their own responsibility in teaching the Buddha Dharma. The teacher, instructor, they have their own responsibility in teaching their students. The worker, they have their own responsibility in doing things. That's why every professions in this world will be the same, will have their own responsibility to keep this life going. However, when we do in the practice, we only want to detach ourselves from those greedy mind, detach ourselves from those thinkings that can harm this life. This is why when we have the patriarch said that Buddha nature have manifested in all our six senses. Through our eyes, we can see. Through our ear, we can hear. Through our senses, we can feel. And everything will be the same when we do in our patriarch Zen. The only thing that we focus on is doing our practice, and our practice will automatically detach ourselves from all of those thinkings in our mind. In this life, we need to believe in our Buddha nature. If you don't believe in our Buddha nature and you believe that you are a normal person, you won't be able to find your Buddha nature. That's why we need to practice all the time. There's another practice, another questions in the Zoom. In the Pure Land, practice, who practicing Pure Land practice, he asked the questions that in the Patriot Zen, we're using the sitting and walking meditations. And if for those people who are disabled or they paralyzed, how can they practice the Patriot Zen? So walking and sitting as only to train your bodies. The practicing is in your mind. That's why when you're practicing the Patriot Zen, you can apply that in all forms of daily living. It's not only the sitting or the walking that you can do the Patriot Zen, but you can do the practice in all activities. So that's why people who are having disability or they are paralyzed from certain disease, sometimes they can practice better than people who are normal, because the practice is in the mind. When these people, they don't think about anything else, their mind they can cultivate their mind better. For normal people, they have to worry about many things in their life. That's why sometimes it interferes with the practice more than those who disabled. That is why our master said that the Patriot Zen is for every people, for all people. We can practice anywhere, anytime. We're using the practice to cultivate our own mind. And when we detach ourselves thinking in the mind, that is the time that we can reach our Buddha nature.